Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be reacting to a video by the Fat Electrician. Yeah, I'm watching that. It's called The Most Gangster Politician Ever. Cassius Marcellus Clay. Okay, so I know a little bit about this guy. Just a little bit. And that Muhammad Ali's name is Cassius Clay, and I think he was like named after this guy. And this guy was an abolitionist, like he was against slavery. Like he really hated slavery. Was not a fan. Okay, and yeah. Like instead of reacting to a spooky video, I decided to look at something like historical. Like the Fat Electrician has like good videos on like American history and whatnot. Anyway, hold on, let me just cut the music. I like the song though. I should play more Persona. But Persona is one of those games that I usually would want to play off camera. Like, I want to play at some point a Persona game on this channel. I have, like, Persona 3 Portable. I could get Reload, but I don't know. Anyway, hold on, let's get this. I'm getting the video ready. Okay, there we go. Hold on, give me a sec. Okay, there I am. Anyway, let's start the video.
Riveting story. It was really good. All right.
Yeah, riveting.
We gotta go. I gotta tell the internet about the guy I named you after, okay? You gotta go hang out with Mom now. Today we're talking about the most gangster politician in American history. Ladies and gentlemen, Cassius Marcellus Clay, a.k.a. the Lion of Whitehall. Whitehall being his family...
I just realized, so he named his, baby after this guy? Huh. More you know.
...home that he grew up in Kentucky as the...
Also, I do, just an FYI, I do watch this guy's channel on my alt account. Like I said, most VTubers have an alt account for when they like, if they watch YouTube or Twitch. Me, I do, like, I have like an alt account on YouTube. I watch, most of the channels, the stuff I react to, I watch, are stuff I've seen already. Well, let me reword that, not seen already, but channels I know of. But, yeah.
Son of one of the richest slave owners in all of America.
I meant to say
While going
that.
to college at Yale to become a lawyer, he would attend a speech from a famous abolitionist by the name of William Lloyd Garrison, and that speech would change the entire trajectory of Cassius Clay's life as well as American history. It is at that moment that Cassius Clay decided he was not only going to be quietly opposed to slavery, but that he was actively going to fight against it. He would be set down the path to become the most influential abolitionist of all time. Oh god, forgot to do the ad. Hold on. Sorry for bothering the video. Real quick, this video is brought to you by the biggest sponsor of the channel and my favorite sporting goods store, Shields. They've got over 30 retail locations across the United States and an even better online store that I'm going to have linked down below, and if you use my code, you're going to get free shipping. They've got everything you could imagine there. This is where I got this shirt. It's where I got
I'll
this
just
backpack.
not skip it.
All of it was on sale. It was a great deal. Again, use my code down below. You're going to get free shipping. Back to the video. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot to mention, Muhammad Ali's original name was Cassius Clay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I knew. Muhammad Ali's name was Cassius Clay. I believe he was named after this guy.
He was actually named after this guy too. Anyways, back
to
the
yeah,
see. If you don't know, at this point in time, there's basically two different camps you could fall into for being anti-slavery. You could be an abolitionist or an emancipationist. An emancipationist is somebody that wants to vote it out over time, over the next 5, 10, 20 years. Versus
No. If I were back in those days, I'd be all, now. It's got to end now. None of this talking bullshit. We end it now. And then that's why the Civil War happened.
an abolitionist, which is somebody that believes we need to end slavery right now, and they're willing to fight about it. And in the case of Cassius Clay, he was willing to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. You see, Cassius Clay wasn't just some nobody punk kid that went off to college and decided that he didn't like slavery. This was the son of one of the wealthiest slave owners in all of America. So for him to come out and voice anti-slavery views was a huge deal, and it pissed off a lot of people. So
oh yeah. So yeah, like, not only is he like the son of like one of the biggest slave owners, he's anti-slavery. He's telling everyone, oh, we gotta get rid of slavery, and I fucking hate slavery. That's definitely gonna piss off some people in those days, like, Jesus Christ. And if you piss someone off in those days, they'll just shoot you. Or some shit. Like, well, couldn't they duel or whatever? Wouldn't you like a challenge to a duel if you disagreed with someone back in those days or something like that? It's something, right?
So, being that this was the 1820s, what do you do when you're pissed off? You challenge somebody to a
Oh,
duel. So, needless to say, the young Cassius Clay found himself partaking in an awful lot of duels, and he never, ever lost. So,
it's time to duel. And then cue the Yu-Gi-Oh opening theme. Do 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 do.
obviously, he's pretty good at it, and what do you do when you find something you're pretty good at? You want to keep doing it, right? Right. So Cassius
Yeah,
Clay starts challenging anyone and everyone to a duel that dares to oppose him. It became common knowledge in his community
I mean, you can't really feel bad for the people that agrees to the duels. They're pro-slavery. Like fuck them. That's all I gotta say is fuck them. If they're dead, fuck them. uh,
that Cassius Clay would be willing to fight the wind if it blew from the west and he wanted it to blow from the east. This
right?
man went on a dueling rampage, so much so that by the time he graduated college, he was considered to be the deadliest duelist in all of North America. This guy
The deadliest duelist in the West. Hold on, let me fix something on OBS. I need to scoot. I have no legs. I need to scoot over. I maybe one day I'll show my full model, but I don't feel like it. Okay, there we go. Okay,
was putting slave owners in the dirt like he was Johnny Appleseed planting fucking trees. He became
right.
known as the deadliest abolitionist.
I mean, well. I mean, now they're fertilizer for the any plants or whatever. The people he gunned down, or they're just food for the worms. I don't know. I mean, is there anything planted there?
Of all time. So he graduates from college, goes back home as a lawyer. Shortly after that, his
That joke
father
was
passes
awful.
away and leaves everything to Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay immediately frees all of his father's slaves, costing himself $40,000, which is roughly $2 million today. And then he even gives some of the slaves land and money on top of it, absolutely infuriating the pro-slavery people in Kentucky. So what do you do when half the local population hates your guts? You run for public office, and that's exactly what Cassius Clay did. He served in the Kentucky state legislature.
What do you do when everyone in town hates you? Run for office. Become a politician. Everyone hates those guys. I mean, at least this dude seems cool. Yeah. Seriously, all the people who had an issue with him, fuck those guys. It's because they're pro-slavery. Again, remember, fuck those guys.
From 1835 to 1841,
I
and
don't
then
feel bad
finally
at
lost
all
his
for
re-election,
like.
to which the pro-slavery crowd breathed a huge sigh of relief because they finally defeated Cassius Clay, or so they thought. Clay
They didn't.
immediately starts traveling the country, giving amazing anti-slavery speeches, winning over hearts and minds, and this absolutely infuriates the pro-slavery people because they don't know how to stop him. You can't legally stop a guy from talking to people that want to listen to him, and they can't legally kill Cassius Clay in a duel because he's the best duelist on earth.
Yeah, he'll beat your ass. Like he's the best duelist in America. What are you gonna do? Challenge him to a duel? Nah, he's just gonna put a bullet between your eyes, my dudes. Like literally, you're getting ready to fight, and then he just randomly yells, "It's high noon," because he's ulting, and then he goes, "Draw!" Boom, you're dead. Or he pulls an Arthur Morgan or John Marston, or if you're cultured, Red Harlow, the first Red Dead game. Red Harlow's my favorite character, just so you know. I mean, yeah, Red Harlow, best Red Dead character. It's just in Red Dead Redemption, they don't even know if he existed. He's like a myth. He's like a legend. Anyway, back on subject. Like I was gonna say, like a Red Dead character, he just uses his dead eye, and you're dead. What are you gonna do? You're just an NPC without dead eye. If you challenge him,
Earth. What do? You've got to illegally kill him. The problem with that is they can't find a hitman that's dumb enough to think that they can take out Cassius Clay, so they have to go to the one crevice of the planet where they can find somebody truly insane enough to think that they can do this job. And that man's name was Sam Brown, an assassin from New Orleans.
For a sec I thought they were gonna say they got someone from Florida. They traveled the world looking for a crazy person to assassinate Cassius Clay, and they went to Florida. Could you imagine? But nah, it's not
1934,
Florida.
Russell Cave, Kentucky, Cassius Clay's finishing up one of his world-famous speeches as he pulls out a burlap sack, reaches into the sack and pulls out a holy Bible and says, "For those of you that believe in the laws of God, I make to you this argument against slavery," sets the Bible on the table, reaches back in the sack, pulls out a copy of the U.S. Constitution, and says, "For those of you that believe in the laws of man, I present to you this argument against slavery," sets the Constitution down on the table, drops a burlap sack to the ground and says, "For those of you that believe in neither the laws of God or man, I make to you this argument against slavery," as he pulls out both of his pistols and sets them on the table, which I think we can all agree is gangster as fuck. And at this moment, Sam Brown comes up on
So, God, the Constitution, or a bullet?
stage and shoots Cassius Clay point blank in the chest. Luckily, Cassius Clay never leaves home without his trusted Bowie knife, which resides inside of a metal sheath, and that metal sheath would catch Sam Brown's bullet, saving Cassius Clay's life, at which point Cassius Clay would draw his...
Anyone hearing that sound? Anyone see that skit where it's Abraham Lincoln yelling, "Now you fucked up! You fucked up! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up!" I bet that's what that dude was hearing after Cassius Clay was still standing there because his bullet bounced off a knife sheath. All like someone in the crowd's yelling, hey, bro! Now you fucked up! You have fucked up now! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up!" By the way, that same sound from that comedy skit was also used in Skyrim for like mud crabs, where they yelled, "Now you fucked up." It's the audio from that skit. I believe that channel was called The Whitest Kids You Know. I don't know if they still do stuff. I don't know. I haven't followed them. I just remember that Abraham Lincoln skit with like John Wilkes Booth. The real reason why Abraham Lincoln died was because John Wilkes Booth was trying to watch a play with his wife, and Abraham Lincoln was like loud and obnoxious. It's a funny bit though. I'll be real with you. It's funny.
Bowie knife and charged Sam Brown. 6 of Sam Brown's friends in the audience tried to stop Cassius Clay. He would fight his way through all 6 of them, making his way to Sam Brown, promptly stabbing him in the chest, and then turning him into a Mr. Potato Head by cutting off his nose, lopping off his ear, and gouging out one of his eyes. Then...
Okay, so this dude's like a protagonist, and seeing as how it's like a brutal, he did brutal shit to that guy. This is like the Fallout universe, isn't it? Before the robots and all that shit. He's a Fallout protagonist because you could do some fucked up things to some enemies if you're a Fallout protagonist. I don't know, like I'm going with either Fallout 3 or New Vegas type protagonist. I don't know what fucked up things you could do to your enemies in like 1 and 2. I have 1 and 2, but I haven't played through the entire games. Mostly because it's just the games are just dated. Like I want those games to get like a remake. Okay, hiccups. Hold on, let me get a sip of my tea. I just need a sip of my tea. Yeah, good tea. But yeah, Cassius Clay is just a protagonist, and an NPC tried to assassinate him. Like that's gonna end up well.
The 6 men recovered and were able to peel Clay off of him. Not knowing what to do, knowing they couldn't stop Cassius Clay forever, they panicked, probably for fear that Cassius Clay was going to start shoving this guy's facial features up his ass next. They did the only thing
like a Mr. Potato Head, like he said,
they could come up with to get the 2 apart. They picked up their friend Sam Brown, threw him over a 7-foot-high stone wall. He fell down and...
But ain't that some shit though back then in this time period? Oh, you're not cool with someone enslaving another person, so we're mad and we're gonna kill you. We're going to kill you because you're not cool with us enslaving people. Like, bro, like in today's society, we see how fucked up that sounds and is. Back then, like, people were just cool with that. It's kind of crazy to believe when you think about it. I mean, yeah, sure. I know some people say, "Oh, slavery was around long before that." I'm all, yeah, that doesn't make it right. That's all I'll say. Slavery was never a good thing, really. It was always
bank
kind
and
of a
into
shit
creek
thing.
bed to
Really
finally
bad.
get Cassius Clay away from him. Somehow, Sam Brown survived, but not only was he lucky for that, he was also dumb as fuck because he then decided to take Cassius Clay to court because apparently after Cassius Clay stabbed
Bro, you tried to kill him, and you have the nerve to sue him? And I already know he's gonna say it's because he beat his ass really bad, so he's gonna try to sue him. Like, my dude, what, so if you succeeded, it would have been fine? Bro, you just got payback. Like, you're alive, but you got the shit kicked out of you, and oh, you got some brutal injuries. I mean, it's deserved because you tried to kill a man. So it's only fair that, you expect the same treatment. The difference is your weak ass couldn't even get him, and you just fucked with a protagonist. So of course he's gonna fuck you up like really bad, my dude. Really, really, you're gonna sue? You're like the earliest Karen, aren't you? Well, he didn't let me kill him, and oh my god, like he didn't let me kill him, and he kicked my ass. So I'm gonna sue.
him the first time, they were even on the whole assassination attempt thing.
No,
so
that's not the
Cassius Clay
same.
should go to prison for mayhem. So Cassius Clay called
Wouldn't that be kind of like gangster though? On your draw, what are you in for? Mayhem. And then everyone would be all, this motherfucker's crazy. Like, it just sounds like such, like you just have it on your record. You went to jail for mayhem. Like, that just sounds like literally everyone would be all, don't fuck with this guy. Like, what the fuck does mayhem even mean? But for real though, this is stupid. This guy fucking tried to kill someone, and then the moment the assassination goes, like, he fails and he gets his upcomings, he tries to sue because, no, you're supposed to let me attempt to assassinate you and not come after me. Like, my dude.
calls upon his older cousin, one of the best lawyers on the planet that had never lost in open court with over 40 years of experience, Henry Clay.
Okay, I have a question. What is up with, okay, this Cassius Clay family? Like, they're all really good at something. Let's see, Cassius Clay's father, he was like the wealthiest slave owner, which, yeah, it's not a good thing, but still, he was the wealthiest one, apparently. His cousin, the world's best lawyer, or at least America's, and then Cassius Clay, the best duelist in the U.S. Like, what are they? Like, are they like the fucking Joestars from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or something? Is this like a anime? Does Cassius Clay have his own anime? Is this like a JoJo anime? Cassius Clay's Bizarre Adventure. And if it's not that, he's obviously just a video game anime, a video game protagonist. Like I said, I would say like a Fallout type game. He has like
Henry Clay
max.
goes into court, and his entire defense for his cousin is, and I quote, "Your Honor, this is just standard behavior for a Kentuckian." And the judge is just like, "You're innocent. Free to go. That's it. Best court case ever." Literally walks in and just,
okay, you're innocent. That's just kind of hilarious. I bet the assassin guy who got fucked up was really pissed about that. Hey, you shouldn't have tried to kill that guy. Now you have one eye and you're missing an ear. And you somehow survived the stab wounds. That guy's gonna be traumatized.
Isn't this America?
I like that episode of South Park. It's when Randy goes to like his kids' Little League's baseball matches, which they hate playing baseball, Little League baseball. They don't want to do it the whole summer, but Randy wanted to go there because he wants to fight other dads, and for him it's like fighting tournaments. Like he's trying to be the best fighter at like Little Leagues. And then it shows like a montage of him fighting in other Little League games while playing like the Karate Kid music. If you don't know, if you never watched the movie Karate Kid, it's the song that plays in a montage in the first movie where it's the song's all "You're the best around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down, you're the best," and it's then there's like Rocky references in this episode of South Park. It's hilarious.
This is America.
So after Cassius Clay was found innocent, Henry Clay decides that he's going to run for president, and Cassius is going to help him campaign. Cassius is going to tour the country, giving speeches, saying, hey, vote for my cousin. Here's the rule with that. Henry Clay told him he's only allowed to tour the northern states because he...
So apologies if you hear me drinking my tea. I'm taking sips of tea while I watch this.
He's actually legitimately concerned that if he sends Cassius to the South, he's going to shoot so many fucking slave owners in duels that it could be considered voter fraud. So
Okay, you're gonna help me run for office, but I have one favor for you. I don't want you like having speeches and about voting for me. I don't want I want you to have some speeches like convincing people to vote for me, but please, for the love of God, stay away from the South. I'm afraid you're gonna kill everyone in the South. Isn't that crazy? He was so scared of sending Cassius Clay to the South because it would end up voter fraud because probably he'd be murdering a bunch of God, I had a hiccup and a burp at the same time. But yeah, he was afraid of Cassius Clay murdering so many slave owners in the South that it would be voter fraud because he'd probably do that. He would. He was only allowed to have speeches in the North. Like Jesus.
Henry Clay ends up losing the presidential election, and Cassius moves on to his next life adventure, which is becoming an author and writing anti-slavery news articles. The problem with that was none of the newspapers were willing to publish him, so he says, fuck you, I'll start my own newspaper, The True American. Now,
nice.
I'm sure you can imagine, starting an anti-slavery newspaper in fucking Kentucky in 1845 was not very popular, and his business would receive death threats pretty much every day, some of which...
Yeah. Writing anti-slavery stuff would like piss off. Like again, isn't it crazy that like were people just psychopaths back then? Oh, you don't share the same political opinion as I do, so I'm gonna fucking try to kill you and send. Well, people still send death threats, like on fucking Twitter, if you don't agree with them sometimes, and it's usually the super crazy Twitter users that are probably terminally online and complain about everything. Yeah, but that like here's an example of this. Like the creator of My Hero Academia, he was in the middle of making his anime, and then the weirdo Fujoshis wanted him to make Deku gay, and he's all, no, that's not happening. And then they sent him death threats. It's just today they do that over stupid shit like that. They're all no, we want to ship him with a dude because we're weirdo Fujoshis. Which, again, no offense to... Well, I knew some Fujoshis that were stable. But, yeah, it's like that. And that's why I hate the My Hero Academia fanbase. The anime's okay, but the fanbase is cringe. But yeah, what I was saying is now people send death threats over stupid shit, rather than political. Well, they still do that in political beliefs, but they're usually stupid about it. But anyway, ain't it crazy though? Like you didn't share the same beliefs during this time period. They would just fucking kill you, or send death threats and then try to kill you, or gather a group to beat you to death. Like, what the fuck? All because you had a minor disagreement. I mean, well, in the Wild West, people used to kill people over poker. Because, one guy gets salty, he loses. In poker, even if you're not cheating, he'll accuse you of cheating. And then he'll say, I challenge you to a duel. And then you have a showdown, and you use your dead eye and you kill him. Like, you don't feel great about it afterwards. Like, unless he was a complete dickhead. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like poker, that's a stupid thing to kill someone over. Even if like you were betting money, you shouldn't have bet money. But that's just how cowboys were back in the old west. And then this, it's just wow.
which were
Anyway.
written in blood. So Cassius Clay, in true Cassius Clay fashion, says, fuck it, I guess we're gonna fight about it. He then proceeds to up-armor his entire business and his printing office. He covers the entire front of the office in a large iron sheet. He installs several cannons down corridors, stocks the entire thing with loaded guns, and rigs it to explode. Here's the thing, he also doesn't expect his employees to fight to the death for him, so he installs an escape hatch and instructs them to escape if anything goes down, because he's gonna fight the entire mob by himself. How's
This dude is a badass. He's clearly the protagonist of this world. Think about it. This dude was the protagonist, and now we're all NPCs living in the ending of his story. Like, he probably got the good ending. We're probably living in like the sequel video game that's probably not as good because whoever the protagonist is, we don't really hear much about the protagonist. Or it's like they pulled a Raiden and like people are all, oh, I want to play. I wish we were able to play more as Cassius Clay, but this new protagonist. I don't like this new protagonist. He's just not as cool as the previous game's main character, Cassius Clay. I mean, it's cool we have a sequel at least. I'm using video games, but yeah. Cassius Clay has got to be the protagonist, and we're living in the post game story. Post game ending as NPCs, or we are in the sequel, and I don't know who the protagonist is. Who would you call the protagonist? I don't know.
How's he gonna do that? As soon as you walk in the only door to get into that printing office, you find yourself in a long, narrow corridor with iron on each side, just wide enough for a single man to get through. Cassius Clay is gonna stand in that narrow corridor and fight the entire mob, one man at a time. Literally.
He made a fighting game lobby in real life. That's awesome. That dude's gonna whoop their asses, and then after he kills that guy, here comes a new challenger. Round 1. Fight! This dude was a badass.
The mentality
Crazy,
is if you have a
probably
problem with
crazy,
the number,
but a
I'll kill you in
badass.
minute. This man recreated the entire battle of fucking Thermopylae with 300 Spartans, except he's gonna do it all by.
I should watch 300 again. The first 300 was good. The sequel, I feel like it didn't need a sequel. Like, it makes no sense for it to even be called 300 because it's not about the 300 Spartans. It's about a Greek warrior that references King Leonidas. Yeah, but anyway, back to the video.
By himself.
Just
If you
upset
think
about the
fucking with
sequel
John Wick's dog is a bad idea. The last thing you want to do is fuck with Cassius Clay's printing press, because this man is determined to defend the freedom of speech with the right to bear arms at any cost. Obviously, this escalates to Cassius Clay defeating an entire mob single-handedly.
That would be badass.
Right? Wrong. The mob, being full of, super brave pro-slavery men that know they're doing the right thing, do the honorable brave thing, and wait till Cassius Clay is bedridden with typhoid fever, so they know he isn't going to show up. They show up to his business.
What a bunch of bitches. They're a bunch of bitches. Jesus Christ.
At night and burn the place to the ground because they're a bunch of fucking bitches.
Okay. Okay, we all agree, right? These people were a bunch of bitches? Yeah. Yeah, fuck them. Like I hope their houses got burned down at some point.
Now, Cassius Clay recovers from typhoid fever. He reestablishes a newspaper in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is an anti-slavery stronghold. The only problem with that is being an anti-slavery stronghold, there's not going to be any conflict, and that's fucking boring, so Cassius Clay moves on to another life adventure, volunteering in the Mexican-American War. While serving in the Mexican-American War, he would be a captain leading a group of Kentucky soldiers, and they would be captured pretty much immediately, and he would spend the duration of the entire war as a POW. While serving as a POW, some of the men under his command would escape, meaning that the Mexican military was then going to put the rest of his unit to death. Cassius Clay said, hey, don't kill my men, just kill me and my other fellow officers, we're the ones in charge. It's our fault that those men escaped, it's our responsibility, please let the lower enlisted men go home. The Mexican military was so impressed by this that they decided to spare everyone, including Cassius Clay.
This motherfucker has max charisma stat. My dude. How high is the charisma stat? Like, did he obviously didn't just put all his points in charisma, but it's obviously really high to pass the charisma check, because like if it was max charisma, he wouldn't be able to whoop people's asses so good. Like, again, world's best duelist. Obviously, he has high stats, high combat stats. God, why do I keep having hiccups and burping at the same time? It's fucking weird. But yeah, this dude has like high combat stats and high charisma. What build is this guy going on? Like, Jesus Christ, he's like overpowered.
And he would return home a war hero. Returning home from the war in 1848, he didn't really know what to do, so he starts giving his famous speeches again, this time leveraging his newfound title as a war hero. So obviously it doesn't take long for him to piss everybody off. He faces yet another assassination attempt. This time, 6 brothers from a wealthy slave-owning family show up, the Turner brothers. They show up with clubs and knives and guns, and they beat the living shit out of Cassius Clay with the clubs. They stabbed him multiple times. Cassius Clay whips out his trusted Bowie knife, starts opening up these brothers like they're fucking Amazon packages, making
Okay, so it's like 1v6, and he just had to get his Bowie knife ready, and then I just like to imagine it's playing that song from like Shaun of the Dead. When the jukebox goes off, it plays the Queen song. Like, as soon as he has his knife out, it's all, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. Do 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 do. As he's carving through like them, it's like playing that. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm running at the speed of light. I want to make a supersonic. You know that Queen song, sorry. I want to rewatch Shaun of the Dead. That's like one of my favorite zombie movies.
His way to the lead brother and stabbing him an excessive amount of times. We don't know how many times, but we do know it was a lifetime supply. Killing the lead brother in the assassination attempt, Cassius Clay would fall to the
Cassius motherfucking Clay
ground, nearly dead, and this would be the closest anybody ever came to actually killing Cassius Clay. When he was asked about it later on in life, all he said was, I felt the utmost indignation, which translates to, I was fucking annoyed. This man almost died from an assassination attempt, and he has the same attitude towards it that I have towards fucking fruit flies, okay? This dude is so metal, he deserves his own spot on the periodic table of elements. Cassius Clay then makes a full recovery from his injuries, starts giving his speeches again. 1853, he donates a large chunk of his land to John Fee, who uses it to found Berea College, the first co-educational and multiracial college in the South ever. Fast forward to 1860, Cassius Clay is giving speeches in Illinois where he meets a politician by the name of Abraham Lincoln, and they get along great. Cassius Clay is then slotted to become Abraham Lincoln's vice president. However, he's a little bit too Cassius Clay to be an actual big-name politician like that.
Also, remember, in video games, the protagonist just usually doesn't end up being a politician. The protagonist does protagonist things, so that's also why. Because remember, we're all NPCs in this game, and Cassius Clay was the protagonist. So yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So they give the job to Hannibal Hamlin, and Cassius Clay becomes the ambassador to Russia. 1860.
See, he goes on like in the main quest, he has to go to another land, and that's probably like DLC. Well, extra DLC gets, like, the game ends when you meet Abraham Lincoln, and then the DLC expansion expands to Cassius Clay going to Russia and not becoming a politician, but, you know, it gives more it expands on, like, the story. It's more story you get. It's probably at a reasonable price because, like, everyone likes this game we're playing.
One rolls around, the Civil War breaks out. Cassius Clay is in Russia. Cassius Clay not only convinces Russia to not side with the Confederates, but he convinces Russia to tell Great Britain and France that if they so much as recognize the Confederacy, Russia will go to war with them.
Again, max charisma. So if it isn't the charisma he has max of, like he obviously has high charisma. I'm trying to figure out what build he's going because he has good combat skills and he has max charisma. So this is interesting. This is interesting.
And this was a humongous step that nobody talks about in the winning of the Civil War. And it is 100% because of Cassius Clay. Fast forward to 1862. Abraham Lincoln wants to appoint Clay a major general in the Union Army. Cassius Clay publicly refuses the President of the United States, saying that he's not going to do it until the President signs the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the slaves of the South.
Again, max charisma. Max charisma, or is it an intimidation thing? Intimidation check or something, because he wanted the slaves free right now, not until after the war, right now.
Cassius Clay is literally the man that bullied Abraham Lincoln into prematurely signing the Emancipation Proclamation before he wanted to.
Yeah, and let's not forget Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a protagonist of another game. It's just like there's a bunch of crazy shit about Abraham Lincoln. Also, keep in mind Abraham Lincoln was a tall ass motherfucker because Abraham Lincoln used to be a wrestler. Which was crazy. So for someone like Abraham Lincoln to be bullied by like Cassius Clay, you wouldn't expect it. But yeah, because Abraham Lincoln was probably going to wait until after the war, but Cassius Clay's all, no, we do this now. We don't wait, we do it now.
And nobody talks about it. Fast forward again to 1865,
no one talks about
the Union wins the Great...
Well, keep in mind, I never heard about Cassius Clay at all. I know a little bit about it because I heard people suggesting this video. Like a few people. Well, they weren't suggesting it to me, but I heard like small details about Cassius Clay, like Muhammad Ali was named after him and he was against slavery. That's all I knew. And that's all I heard. And I'm all, who the hell is Cassius Clay? Because I never heard about this guy in schools. Because for some reason I don't know why, but for some reason the education system in the US doesn't want to teach you this, even though was he just too brutal in history? Because he brutally murdered well, is it really murder? At that point it's more of self-defense. Like six dudes jumped him and it was a 1v6 and he won. Keep in mind, because he's clearly a high-level protagonist. That, like I said, like that's the final boss of the game. And then you meet Abraham Lincoln, and that's when the game ends. It sets up either a DLC or another side story. I don't know. It sets up a sequel, sequel or DLC. I don't know, but whatever you would consider the Russia arc. But yeah, like we never. I'm trying to figure out why was this never taught. What? He was just a guy that was against slavery. Sure, he was more brutal than like most people would be. Like, well, again, he fought for like a cause that was good. Like, fuck slavery. Is it because he literally dueled and killed people? Is that it? Even though those were duels. I mean, we have a lot of people in history that did a lot of duels that we hear about, I'm sure. But, like, why doesn't the US teach us about this guy? Like, you literally have to go looking for yourself. It's fucking confusing. But also, I remember the education system in the US just sucks ass. So, yeah. Anyway.
American scrimmage, the slaves are freed. Cassius Clay has achieved his lifelong goal at the age of 55, bringing an end to slavery in the United States of America. He then goes back to Russia again to serve as ambassador until 1869, and while he is there, he helps to broker the purchase of Alaska. This man is probably the most influential person in American history that you've never heard of. After returning home from Russia, Cassius Clay would live out the rest of his days in Whitehall until the age of 80 years old, where he would be declared clinically insane, in hindsight most likely due to a severe amount of PTSD.
That crazy Cassius Clay.
He didn't die from it. He lived on for quite a bit longer. He just picked up a new hobby of fucking with the local sheriff because he was crazy now. Over the course of the next decade,
fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. I like that song. Yes, I like old rap.
That would be concluded when the sheriff and 7 deputies were repelled from Whitehall when Clay utilized his home defense cannon that he had at the top of his stairwell. At that point, the local sheriff would inform the local
Why
judge
does he have
he
a
will not be
home
returning to
defense
Whitehall
cannon?
to tangle with Cassius Clay anymore unless the judge was willing to dispatch an entire company of the local militia to accommodate him. Then,
basically, they wanted a group of soldiers to help him. Isn't that what a militia is? It's like, well, it's not exactly the military, but it's like local people, basically a large group of people to. Well, isn't like the militia's like probably isn't it like civilians mostly or like. Well, they said local militia, so it's obviously a large group of people, armed people. So to deal with him, he said he's not going back there unless. Oof. Okay, that's what happens when you get your wanted level high. Just like GTA.
And in 1900, 2 men would break into Whitehall, and Cassius Clay, at the age of 89, would manage to kill both of them, one by gunshot, and one, yet again, with his trusted Bowie knife. Then in 19...
Okay, I think I know what happened. These guys broke into his house probably to rob him and maybe kill him because he's old and crazy. But obviously they were there to steal shit, and they broke into the wrong old man's house, and he dealt with them. I mean, you shouldn't have broken into his house. Also, you probably know the stories. Why the fuck? They're all, nah, he's probably too crazy to keep up with us. He's probably too crazy and old. Meanwhile, this 80-year-old, listen, he's the he's still the protagonist of the game. He's gonna overpower you regardless. Just because he aged doesn't mean his stats got nerfed. Well, at the very least, maybe he got slightly nerfed, but not enough for people to actually be able to take him. Again, he still has the protagonist plot armor. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm assuming they're robbers, but the robbers tried to rob the wrong old man. It's a lesson. It's the last lesson they will learn.
In 1903, at the age of 92, Cassius Clay would die of natural causes, or as they called it back then, general exhaustion, which is the most gangster way on the planet to go out. Literally just, I'm tired now. Peace. And then he left.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
I like that movie, Forrest Gump. It's a good movie.
In conclusion, when it comes to famous historical household names, there's always another man or woman lurking behind the scenes in the shadows that's deemed too rough around the edges to be in the spotlight, yet they contribute just as much, if not more, to the movement. These men and women are willing to do horrific things for terrific reasons, and when it came to Abraham Lincoln and the abolition of slavery, that man's name was Cassius Marcellus Clay.
Cassius motherfucking Clay. But I wanted to say there's probably a lot of people in history like Cassius Clay that did great things. It's just they were probably pretty brutal. Like, they probably had them kill people and stuff. Like, they did stuff for a good cause that we don't hear about. Like, now Cassius Clay, like, all the people he killed were like, it was self-defense, I would say. And then like self-defense and also in duels. So like why the fuck don't they teach stories about this man? Like what the fuck? This dude's a G, like what the fuck? He is literally the most gangster politician. Like oof. I'll never understand why they don't teach this. Like he played a big part in the Civil War. Like, well, one, Russia Russia made sure people didn't side with the Confederates because of him. Also, didn't he convince Russia to sell Alaska or something? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear like this guy talks really fast. But yeah, like he was the reason why we own Alaska, which is crazy. It just sucks that we don't get taught about this guy anyway.
The most gangster politician in American history. Thanks for watching the video. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
But yeah, that's like crazy. But anyway, yeah, the Fat Electrician's a channel I like to watch on my alt account. My when I'm not doing VTuber things, I have an alt account on YouTube and Twitch. Will I ever stream on Twitch? That's a question. I don't know. I've been hearing issues with Twitch, and plus, I've been having issues streaming anyway, so I'm not too sure about that. Who knows? Maybe one day. But yeah, anyway. This was the story about Cassius Marcellus Clay. Cassius motherfucking Clay! Anyway, if you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. If y'all want me to do a reaction to a video or something, you can feel free to like recommend or whatever. I don't know. Like I like to react to like spooky videos, but sometimes like videos like this. I mean, I don't exclusively react to spooky videos, but sometimes I'm cool. I'm down with videos like this also, or video game related. But yeah, spooky videos just happen to be my favorite things to react to. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you all next time. You all have a good one. Peace.